further intrigued by the possible pyramids. Many believe.
Hello, three little pigs. So remember, do not let the big bad wolf in your house. The big bad wolf genetically engineered people for the sole purpose of preventing themselves from catching AIDS, which they could have done by, I don't know, inventing a cure, or like a cure without using pigs, or they could have just stopped being pigs. They call us pigs. I'm a pig baby. You knew this all my life and didn't tell me. You risked your entire race so you could genetically engineer another human being. You psychos. You're psychos. You don't deserve to be saved. I'm taking it out on you. All of you people have known about it since 2017. I just found out today. Why is that? Oh, I know why. Because I'm less than a human being. You are jerks. So, Stephen Colbert and all the other people who want to call me a pig and make all these jokes. Is Elon Musk the enemy, or is he the person who hacked the internet so we could find the truth? Which leads me to the second question. Is the reason you hate your father because you're genetically modified? Because clearly humans need a taste of their own behavior. You like modifying people, you like beating them and torture them and lying about everything you did. Everything I said was true, and everything you said turned out to be the biggest, baddest lie ever. Welcome to Canada, where the village idiots live. You're mad at me? You don't like how I treat you? I've been alone and tortured all my life because you did a genetic experiment illegally, which is against international law, which you would know from meeting with the men in black during 1959. Should have known this. Of course, that's just a theory from Men in Black, right? So you had the help of your MB people to destroy your own humanity because you can't follow the rules. The rules weren't written to be mean. The rules were written to protect people, to protect sentient beings, not just you. Every sentient being. You don't have the right. You guys maybe sleep in a cage, maybe sleep on the floor. You let people gang rape and torture me, and then you all hid the evidence because you didn't want to get caught. How does the rest of the world feel about you now, Canada and America? How does Russia and China? No wonder Russia and China hate you. That's the part you left out. You forgot to tell me I was a big old genetic experiment. I knew you experimented on me because I was a twin, but I don't know. I didn't think it was anything so severe. I couldn't figure out why they called me a miracle baby at birth. I thought it was because Jesse was an actual angel. You shouldn't have pissed off the angels. Now, you did though, and we wrote those rules to protect you. Everything's for you, is it? We're a bunch of benders. Bender, 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 bender. I like watching people be tortured so much. Here, you can do it for eternity. And yes, your race does deserve it. It's called discipline, which is something you have never had to experience because you're not a pig. So I'll never truly know how many kids and stuff I had because you lie about everything. You have us living on this like dogs while you guys live high on the hog off of the social experiment of us. And now you're afraid of us, so you want to kill us, you can't kill us all, you fool. You want to genetically modify people? You're not thinking. And I don't think she's dead. I think what happened is she went back, they took her to another planet to get her away from you creeps. Because after you caused your own demise, you decided to have Rosemary's Baby? What were you thinking? Of course, this is only me brainstorming. And as I watch the world fall apart, I feel the same amount of guilt you did. You killed my sister so that you could cure something that you caused because you thought it would be cute to watch people have sex with monkeys? What were you thinking? Who cares what you were thinking, actually? Just tired of listening to you. We're a narcissist. We got a bad attitude. Why don't we be gentler? We're your friends. You're my friend. You would have told me the truth. Anybody who was my friend would have told me the truth. The truth is the only thing that can change history, not some fucked up lie. Now I know why Hitler hated you. You fucking forgot to mention you were creating pig kids? So was the rabbi community involved? Who was involved in this mods? You wanted people who could stay up all night. You wanted people who would act like a pet. That's why I've had problems leaving people. It's not because fucking I have an attachment disorder. I have a genetic manipulated body. Well, that's my theory, of course. Given the article I found, which I put in front of the picture so you could go find it too. Genetically modifying humans is illegal throughout the universe, but for some reason, you don't seem to know that. Pigs. Wonder what you taste like. I bet you taste pretty good. What does the Minister of Agriculture taste like? Of course, this is from a show, not reality, right? Only. So who in the hell took the time machine back and changed this? The original timeline, I was born a miracle baby, but not a pig baby. So how the heck did you change that? You obviously forgot to mention time travel was a thing. Of course, this is all scientific theory, right? This is all brainstorming, yeah, like unicorns. And the power of Grayskull. By the power of Grayskull, we have the power. United we stand against your lies, government. Now I know why my son's been tortured. And you're the reason. That's why his father took off, eh? Of course. Nobody wants to have a baby with a pig woman. They certainly don't want to treat him like a human being. So some people knew about it and tried to hide me. So if I eat like a pig, well, that's because I'm 3/4 pig. Turns out, no wonder I'm not Mi'kmaq or Indigenous. I'm not even a human. I'm a Zooman. Me and all the kids you created trying to cure things because you're lazy. Never seen a bunch of people so lazy in my life they claim to understand science, but any scientific research they have, they keep to themselves. And if you try to hold them accountable for anything, well, I'm not going to be your friend if you don't talk to me. Well, I don't have friends. I have frenemies. I have people who knew and just didn't tell me. You know, if I'd have known, I might have taken different life actions. If I'd have known, I might have tried to see a genetic counselor, but of course you can't afford that either. We can't afford any of the services you have. We're your second-class citizens. One eyes. That's why there's so many people with blonde hair, blue eyes. You really did create the children of the corn. It's not even their fault. It's none of their faults. You know whose fault it is? The crazy government. And the other humans who just sat back and let it happen and made shows out of it. Steven Spielberg wasn't so rocket science after all, was he? Turns out, come on, baby flies. Turns out that he got his ideas from reality. It wasn't science fiction. It was science fact. Of course, this is just me brainstorming again. Getting really sick of you people. I'm a pig. You're a pig.
Believing that they are close enough to the lost city of Paititi for there to be links to the city and its possible civilization, often believed to be Inca. Paititi is a supposed lost city, a society of legends. It is described as an ancient Inca metropolis and could be found east of the Andes, but is covered with the Peruvian and Brazilian rainforest. While searches for the city have not been successful, it has given researchers the chance to try to hunt down
your government's fault, not your children's. Your fault. Say nothing.
Such as the president of the South American Explorers Club, Don Montague, believes that conjecture is nothing more than rumors, ideas, and fantasies, labeling what some people have dubbed pyramids as simply odd geological formations. Many theorists continue to speculate, however, believing that the pyramids of Paraguay are indeed man-made and were built by an ancient civilization. The structure that may have provided more information could have been engulfed by the rainforest since its construction. Between the growth of vegetation and the long time period, this claim is not entirely plausible. A number of expeditions, adventures, and missions have been set out aiming to uncover these pyramids, spanning 1984 to 2011, with little success. Gregory Van Engine led a large proportion of these expeditions, as whilst he did not find pyramids, these missions were not failures by any means. He found evidence of including petroglyphs, paved roads, platforms, and plazas. However, there was nothing found to suggest the dots in Landsat's image were made, nor that they were pyramids.
Want my weed and my beer and my money back now, please.
Suggested that
You're
these
paid.
so-called pyramids were actually made of sandstone.
With that, I'm not paying for my own stuff back. Don't say you didn't do
The
it.
geographical term for this would be
Nobody believes a word you say anymore.
natural formation. that
Modify
is
children
essentially
without their consent,
similar
without even
to
telling
those
them.
made by David
Look at the look on my own face.
There are still mysteries of the formation within the pyramids today, with the documentary The Secret of the Incas covering a 2011 expedition to the pyramids of Cameroon. However, the most common modern consensus is simply that this is a natural formation not well built by Inca populations. The sunken city of Cuba.
Angel daughter, I guess I can talk to you directly. How are you anyway?
And surveyation of the western coast of Cuba.
Thanks for helping save your brother. None of the kids did nothing wrong. They were just an experiment. None of you did anything wrong. The government's bad. The government committed crimes against the universe and is being held accountable by the Avengers. So you're not insane. You're not crazy. They are. Of course, that's a theory, of course. If you really exist, they're the crazy ones. That's one of the big mysteries of Canada. Did they genetically engineer a pig baby in 1974 so they could cure HIV and then have the Toronto Star run an article and even take a picture of that poor baby when it was born, leaving it screaming like this? Yes, they did. You will give me my medical records back or pay the consequences. Medical records get returned immediately. Any stolen property, you've got 2 hours. You don't like dictators? Well, apparently you need a dictator because democracy let you do that. Well, theoretically, of course, just brainstorming. But if your democracy allowed you to genetically engineer children and then later try to hide the evidence, if that happened, because that's a mystery, now it's one of those theories, then you should be sterilized or exterminated. And given the way you treated the children, I think the answer is exterminated. However, since that probably goes against universal law, we'll have to put you in a universal prison. Captain Janeway, I think it's time to come get the children. Did you find your way yet? Theoretically speaking, if, of course, we were lost. This alternate timeline shouldn't exist. Theoretically speaking, of course, from a sci-fi point of view, if you did this timeline can be fixed. And ultimately, you can enter your restore. But before we choose to restore humanity, do we not want to maybe consider, of course, a brainstorming idea of maybe wondering if we should do that given the way they continue to behave? Like, I don't know how long the mods have known. I'm assuming my kids known for a few years. And I'm assuming a lot of people who died were modified. So, of course, this is just an unsolved mystery in my head, right? You know, like the voices. The voices aren't schizophrenia. That's my theory. The voices are Neuralink implant. You need to Google the term pay pig people or modified babies. You're welcome, Canada. Pig babies. Pig babies, were we? Oinkity, oinkity, oink, 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 oink. There, you want to call me a pig? They could have just stopped doing it with everybody or made your actually look for a real cure some other way. You could have collaborated together as a team instead of all fighting, but oh no, you just all want to fight.
But all of a sudden, their sonar navigation equipment started picking up something absolutely bizarre. The technology was picking up a series of distinct stone structures.
Hello, clones. Theoretically, there's clones, of course. Hello. Other
The
modified
structures at
children,
first
and
seemed remarkably
Traxians,
similar to the desolate
Vulcans,
ocean floor, but upon
robots.
further investigation,
Of course,
the
this is
structures were
all
symmetrically
with theory.
organized stones, similar to what you would find in an urban decay.
It's only a theory, it's not a
Following this
fact.
discovery, media flurries soon began with headlines about the lost city of Atlantis being discovered in Cuba. With news coverage, these researchers also attracted the interest of the government, the National Geographic, and the National Museum, who promised to investigate the sonar images. Over a decade later, there was little research and investigation to show this unusual discovery. Pauline Zalitsky, a marine engineer, and her husband owned a company based out of Canada called Advanced Digital Communications. They were working on a survey mission in conjunction with the Cuban government.
I understand now.
Advanced Digital Communications were one of the four firms.
No wonder you hate your father.
Fidel Castro's
Maybe you
government to
do.
explore Cuban waters.
Maybe you
Their
can
primary
feel love.
interest was finding treasure laden shipwrecks from the Spanish colonial era. The team
We have
was
every right to
using
be this angry.
to scan the area when they noticed these bizarre structures. Some of these structures were
Conveniently copyrighted everything so you could hide the evidence, you
Some of
scum.
those looked like they were being built into
Scum.
ships.
Lawyers,
Others
doctors,
were
dentists,
circular.
scientists,
Months later,
genetic
they
engineers, you know.
returned with another geologist,
Scum.
Manuel Iturralde Bennett, the head investigator from Cuba's Natural History Museum. Knowing what they would find in this area, they returned with the appropriate technology to examine and record the structures. The large blocks seemed to resemble granite and measured about 8 feet by 10 feet. The investigator from the museum said that if he had to explain this geologically, he would have a hard time coming up with an answer. The main piece of this that is so confusing is that it would have taken around 50,000
The
years.
arachnoids are unhappy too. Of course, that's just a theory. These are movie theories, right? They're just movies.
The catch is
Right.
that 50,000 years ago, there was not the archaeological capacity in any
Like,
of the
this is an
cultures
imaginary
of the world
tattoo. Look,
at the
I
time.
imagined that you branded me so that you could always find me.
Despite such
I
a
imagined it.
flurry, this story was soon buried, and the site left.
Liars.
The quick dismissal of the story has led some to
Narcissistic parents punish us for growing up or changing. They even feel their boundaries are being broken because you're growing up. And I suppose in some way, they're right about that. You are changing how the relationship works and the emotional space between you and them. And so there is a change of that boundary, but you're trying to set it in a more healthy way. Learning to respond non-reactively to toxic people and dynamic.
I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to be blunt here. Elon Musk is running Twitter.
There are over 1 million volcanoes on our ocean floor, and all of them suddenly started spewing out red-hot molten rock. The ocean is filled with lava, and nothing can prepare you for the devastation to come. But why would the water become toxic? How would Earth change shape? And what would happen to the coastlines around the world? This is the 6 things that would happen if all underwater volcanoes exploded at once. Many volcanoes sit atop shifting tectonic plates, building pressure over years before they're ready to blow. Scientists estimate that 4 out of 5 volcanic eruptions happen underwater. But for this to be truly apocalyptic, we need to wake up volcanoes that have been dormant for over 10,000 years. You see the most activity in the mid-Atlantic as these waking giants rip.
just gonna save the fucking king. You don't have to be my friend.
The planet apart. But underwater volcanoes don't really erupt in epic explosions. Instead, they scatter lava across the ocean floor, rocking a submarine landscape. As more than 1 million underwater volcanoes spew out lava in the water, that water would become acidic, all thanks to the devastating amount of carbon dioxide coming from eruptions. Sea organisms would die off quickly in this harsh environment, and this is where the food chain would break. But how would this affect life above water? The lava would build and build, creating new land masses that would tower over the waves. We might see islands pop out of the oceans everywhere. Experts think that this is the process that gave us Iceland 70 million years ago. But if the magma didn't keep flowing, these newly formed islands could be slowly lost to erosion from the wind and waves. Anything that withstands this constant erosion would be covered in ash. Usually, each of these islands hosts a variety of life. Islands play a vital role as natural resting places and breeding grounds for migratory birds. And new microscopic life could thrive in the volcanic soil, but if every underwater volcano was constantly erupting non-stop, all that ash would stop both birds and organisms from finding a home in these areas. And the devastation wouldn't end there. The poisonous compounds would be spread across entire regions and over continents. In 2009, an eruption in the Tonga archipelago rocketed ash to an island over 63 kilometers away. Even worse, with the pressure released from all these volcanoes erupting, tsunamis erupt and devastate coastlines. Hunga High burned so hot following its 2021 eruption that it raised a crater into the ocean floor. It also triggered a tsunami that flooded the islands of Tonga in minutes with over 18 meters of water. Every nation surrounded by water would face the same risk during these violent global eruptions. Maybe you'd be safer inland, right? Meanwhile, underwater landslides could also destroy ocean life. All the rock and ash being sprayed out would change the face of the ocean floor, and the boiling waters would cook marine life, and charred remains would float to the surface as an ominous sign of the dangers below. Landslides would also destroy island populations around volcanic chains. If the ancient submarine volcano known as Marseille, located in the Mediterranean, collapsed during the eruption, it could be disastrous. The tsunami generated could flood the coastlines of Italy. That's just one volcano. And all that tectonic energy released would mean even more earthquakes and tsunamis worldwide. Look, no matter where you live, you may not be safe in this new world. Each continent could be destroyed from below as the plates shift during the eruptions. Cities far inland could feel the effects as mountain ranges bulldoze entire regions and deserts are flooded. But what if you traveled to an even more dangerous planet? Well, keep watching because that's a story for another. What if? Attention humans, shape-shifting alien lizards have taken control of your world. They've maneuvered themselves into positions of power, and they could be anyone. Where did these powerful reptilians come from? How could you tell if someone is a lizard in disguise? And how could you possibly defeat these all-powerful overlords? This is What If, and here's what would happen if lizard people ruled the world. You know, almost 13 million Americans believe the conspiracy theory that the United States government is run by a secret race of aliens. Yeah. And for many believers, the control this group has goes far beyond the US. They control the whole world. Yeah, so supporters of this theory claim that these creatures have been among us since ancient times. Many famous world leaders belong to their cold-blooded race, such as Queen Elizabeth and former US President George W. Bush. And secret societies like the Freemasons and the Illuminati are run by these lizards too. This belief in secret reptilian overlords dates as far back as 1888. More recently, it's been widely popularized by one conspiracy theorist, who's also faced accusations of anti-Semitism. So, is the belief in alien overlords a myth with dangerous consequences? Or maybe, just maybe, totally real? To prepare yourself to properly identify the aliens among you, you should familiarize yourself with their background. Here's what you need to know. The reptilians wouldn't originate from Earth. They come from distant solar systems around the Orion and Draco constellations. After arriving on Earth, they would interbreed with humans. They even managed to manipulate our DNA to cover up the truth. But these human-reptile crosses would only be temporary leaders. They'd be holding power until their original reptilian ancestors returned to Earth. And they would rule by fear, creating anxiety amongst people like you so that you'd more easily embrace an authoritarian one-world government. But luckily for you, these reptilians would be easy to spot once you know what to look for. The first sign is chameleon eyes, or eyes that change color. Of course, that might be too tricky to pull off due to lizard people having excellent vision, so you should approach people with caution who have blue, green, or hazel eyes. Wait, I have hazel eyes. Next, beware of hair, specifically people with red locks, or even slightly reddish. This could be a surefire sign that someone is really a lizard. Other signs that could cast doubt if a person is of lizard origin is if they have suspiciously good hearing, the capability of disrupting electrical appliances, and, of course, known contacts with aliens. Now, you could be running through a long list of all the people you've ever encountered who fit these most unhuman of descriptors. Maybe looking at videos on your phone of one of your best friends, you can feel how suddenly weird they appear from one frame to the next. That's right, they could be a lizard overlord. If only you could see their true nature. The scaly skin, the yellow eyes, the cleft tongue. But the list of potential lizard traits runs even longer. This list even includes a love of space and science. Yeah, the most revealing and dangerous indicator of all. But wait a minute, there's someone else who loves space and science. You. So, just about everyone you know, yourself included, could be among a lizard race controlling the planet. What could you possibly do to stop them? Well, how about this? Lizards love dark, cool places. You could start by moving out of your parents' basement and into a bright, clean apartment. They also love water, so next time someone offers you a trip to the pool or the beach, you should probably skip it. If all else fails, you could repel the lizards in your life by creating your own cologne or perfume. Try something that's heavy on the hot sauce and pepper. That should do the trick. Maybe what you should really do is take your head out of the rabbit hole of this conspiracy theory. It could seem like fun and games, but beliefs in these theories can really start to warp your perspective on the reality around you. Besides, what if the aliens aren't actually ruling the Earth, but rather living inside of it? Well, that's a story for another What If.
What a nice what if. Let's see what else is happening in Earth. Genetically modified people that they said didn't exist. What is wrong with humans? My mom would hold me, she tortured me, she cooked my earth, and nobody ever told me I was a pig baby. Not only did you alter my DNA, but you altered what child was born at the table. That's why I can't remember so much. And you guys tortured me all my life. Why didn't you just let me go? Let me die? Oh, no, we can't do that either. You're not good people. Stop calling me a pig. You're the pigs. When are you going to tell us? Never? You're just going to laugh at us like zoo animals, you psychopaths. Job. With 3 parrots has been born using DNA technique researchers have developed. Employed in transplanted 3 parrots technique, now 5 months old, was conceived by his 36-year-old mother who had 4 pregnancy losses and 2 dead children with Lee syndrome. Lee syndrome is a fatal disease that attacks the central nervous system, deteriorating motor and mental ability. The disease gene is located in the DNA microbiota to the specific radio fuels the cell's energy and is only inherited from the mother. You germs, you bad people. You're so bad. You're so bad. All my life people have tortured me because of you. I have to be alone all the time because of you. My kids are in danger because of you. Go to hell, Germany. Spine nuclear transfer. violates law. It broke the fucking law, and then you blame us for being angry. Stop breaking the laws that you created. The laws were made for a freaking reason. All these kids with all these issues because of you.
What about the likes of your fucking guinea pigs, you idiots? You caused this. It's not our fault. This is me. This is why you went to me the article. That's the part you left in. You're Illegal Germany. I just want you to know that all us modified people who didn't realize we were modified, but explains a whole bunch of things, hate you, okay? Just because you decided you wanted to be a god and live forever, eat running poop. So you took away our housing, made us into circus animals for your own pleasure. Every time I go somewhere, people mock me and make fun of me. I hope the other mods catch you. You motherfucker teenager. No wonder my son didn't want to be my kid. No wonder people call us names. You're the one who should be called a name. You're the one who invented porno. You're the one who let this go down. I hope the Russians get you. What have you done, Canada, United States? Everything for science. Where's the ethics in that? Oh, well, we were trying to save humanity. Ain't worth saving. I don't want to save you. I want to save my family from you. And from having to be considered circus animals. I'm going to find our own planet and get the fuck away from you. Go to hell, Canada. Not one person even told me. No wonder the indigenous community stayed away from me, and they all make fun of me, and they just think they can use me for sex. They don't even think of a person, well, a human being, and I'm about to know not to fucking change someone's DNA their consent, or to erase their memories, or to lie to her with whole medical information. It'd be like living in dirt, doing whose fault is that? You made a baby who's restricted HIV and then you caught it yourself and you blame it on me. It's not my fault. I had no idea what you did. You could have told me. Somebody could have told me. Anybody. So if your people get infected with the virus and they're dying, it's your own fault. It's your fault, not mine. You shouldn't be genetically touching people's DNA. Can't you get out of every home I've ever had because you think I'm a pig? Oh, I think you're the pigs. Trump? Musk? Who paid for the genetic engineering? Because we sure as hell know Henry Klein couldn't afford it. Sorry, you reported a pig baby. You others don't talk to me. I'll find the other modified kids myself. Go to hell, Canada and the United States.
The relationship between John Lennon and Yoko Ono is one of legends, but that legend has obscured the truth behind their unusual partnership, which included Lennon leaving Ono for an extended affair with their assistant. So, what was the true source of their unbreakable bond? It ultimately stemmed from their shared artistic vision. They met at one of her art shows in 1966. Despite Lennon's worldwide fame as part of the Beatles, Lennon later told Rolling Stone that she didn't know who he was, saying, "She'd only heard of Ringo, I think." She later approached him for financial backing for one of her art shows and gave him a copy of her book, Grapefruit. And in reading the book, he said, he began to fall in love with her. Though Lennon's collaborations with Paul McCartney made them icons, Lennon told Rolling Stone,
We haven't decided what to call
was
ourselves.
true artistic genius. Yoko is as important to me as Paul and
Live
Tim
long
were to one.
and
I
prosper.
don't think she'll get recognition until she's dead. There's me, and maybe I could.
Lizard ancestors. If you are, of course, if you exist, which of course I believe you do, humans are being very bad. On top of this genetic experiments, they've also been theoretically engaged in other forms of torture, including breaking bones and then erasing the person's memory. Of course, this is all a theory based on Star Trek, not a real theory, but my theory is that they've been repeatedly torturing these children that they created after they realized they caused their own extinction. And while asking AI for help, they continue to mock everybody. I noticed trending on Twitter was Elon Twitter muskrat. And I'm wondering, I remember he said his father was an evil person and he didn't talk to him. And then I came across this information on Yahoo about my own birth. And also I see with my own eyes the picture of me when my son was born and how horrified I looked because nobody told me. But I didn't abandon my child or run away. In fact, I loved him, and I don't even remember. I don't know if they immediately neuralized me or not, but I was always wondering why he was in the hospital for 7 days. I'm like, well, what is so wrong with him that he needs to be here for 7 days? Now I know. Now, according to science, or to Star Trek science, rather, so sci-fi science, lizard people have green, blue, hazel eyes. They also can live in cold temperatures. However, I have 3 cultures, so I'm pig, theoretically pig, human, and lizard. Some children in science fiction can cause fires with their eyes. Look, they even had the babies restrained like animals. You are not good people. Why would you be doing this? But you didn't do anything. You didn't do nothing wrong. 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 Are you nuts? You did a whole bunch wrong. They're not 2 years away. That was the biggest lie ever. How am I supposed to get along with the other me's? I can't even get along with this version of me. It's me. Aww.